Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Astrox Imperium. This is devlog video number 95. Today's date is the 21st of October and we're going to be taking a look at build 125. Alright, let's go ahead and jump in here. I do believe I have a new account, yes. So you won't be seeing anything too fancy in this one, although I do have some interesting fixes and lots of little new additions. So I'm going to walk you guys through this item by item on the list, and I'm going to go ahead and say right now that I am doing this video a little bit differently. I'm currently remodeling my office. The family has taken off to go visit Nana down in Georgia, so I've had the house to myself for about a week, and I decided to take that opportunity to get some stuff done. And one of the most used rooms in the house, my office, still had all the old drywall, all the old carpeting, everything from 20 years ago. So I finally got that stuff knocked out, and I'm waiting for some paint to dry. I can do some trim tomorrow, and I'll be able to move everything back in, and I'll resume doing my Twitch videos once I have everything kind of set up. All right, so let's go ahead and jump through here, and we'll take a look at what I've got going on. The first biggest thing that I want to jump into and show you right away that I think is really, really cool is the ability to change the color of your sensors. So this is something that I have been playing with for a while. I didn't want to mention it really because I was struggling so hard trying to figure this out. But I finally got it to, it's not 100% what I wanted, but it's extremely close, and I'm happy with it. And I'll probably be happy with it for another 6 months or so before I decide to give it another little push. But basically what's happening is now you're seeing all the positions of the props. So any prop that's not interactable kind of gets, made a little bit translucent, so you can see the background stuff still. And then all of your items and everything still show up in that bright little holographic, line effect. And now you can go into your options here and go into your graphics and scroll down here, and you'll notice you now have a tactical sensors color. So this will update with the with this panel open, so as you make changes you'll see what those changes are doing to your sensors. So you can turn it down. You can make it like, if you like the green and you want to go with the green kind of sensors, maybe a little like cyan, like a blue green or a sea foam, you can go like that. If you like the kind of the elite dangerous orange, you can get in there with a little bit of this. Let's turn, there you go. So you can play around with that. There's lots of different options, and then this slider right here, which normally would be the alpha, is actually messing with the saturation. So if you turn the saturation all the way up, then you'll still see some of the color hints, which kind of makes it not so monochromatic. And then if you turn it all the way down, the saturation is very low, and it kind of evens out the color tone so that everything is very monochromatic. All right, so we're going to go with something a little bit of green like that, with a little bit of sea foam like that. All right, let's go ahead and save that. Now, if you have an existing account, you'll notice, though, although you can change those colors, it's not saving your changes every time you reload the game. What you're going to have to do is, you'll notice in the updates text, if you go into the devlog in the actual game itself from the home page, you will see that there is a line of code that needs to be inserted. And it's an options_UI_color_sensors, and then you do the RBGA values, and you're good to go. And that information will be put into your player_options.txt file, and that is stored inside of your save game. So if you want to add that in there for, if you haven't already created a new game, you can add it into an existing save or your options or whatever, and then it will save your colors for you. All right, let's take a look at our list here. I made a number of bug fixes, and I'm just going to kind of walk through. There was some issues with the faction modifier display values to show the actual correct faction ship bonuses when purchasing a new ship. So some of the math was off, and some guys on the Discord gave me some pointers and helped me out, and I got that fixed up nice. There was also an issue where your journal, when you were editing your journal notes while inside of a structure, it was causing your guy to move around whenever you hit the WASD keys. So I have that fixed now, so it's no longer going to take that character input and move you around. It will now just edit the note, and then as soon as that note panel is closed, then you'll be able to move your character around using the normal keys. There was some stuff going on with the torpedo module. I wish I would have had my other save loaded up here because I could have showed you. But basically the issue was that it was using a different set of textures and materials that were very, very old. So I've updated all that. So now the color of your torpedo module is going to match whatever coloration you've set up for your ship. So I got that working properly. There were some spelling errors in on the factions database for the professions. So I got that fixed up. And there was a small bug allowing the fabricator to overfill past its max capacity when you were doing remote manufacturing. So basically what I had going on there is the code was a little bit confused and was bypassing a conditional check to make sure that you had that space, and it was just allowing your fabricator to continue running and putting things together when it should have stopped. All right. There was a bug in the structure editor panel that was removing the structure ID from the structure data file. And that was a little bit of a pain in the butt, but that issue is now fixed. And there was also a bug allowing multiple targets to be visible when docked at the station. And basically what was happening is there was a hard-coded limit of 50 modules or 50 targets, and any mods that were being done that were exceeding that were not being cleared when you docked at the station. So now I have that completely fixed. All right, I did a number of adjustments. I adjusted the torpedo module size and the scale, and then I also adjusted some of the ship shader stuff. So you'll notice that the ships look a lot better, and with the lighting and just the way that their textures are being rendered, it's got a lot more flair to it, a lot more reflectiveness. The shadows, everything about it has been improved. So all of those materials and textures have been tweaked so that ships are looking better than they did before. And a shout out to Dragon Slayer for all his help helping me track that stuff down. When you guys get on the Discord and give me a hand like that, it really makes things go a lot faster for me, because I can spend hours and hours and hours chasing stuff down, and if you guys just take it off my plate for me, then you're basically just saying, I found the issue, here's where it is, go fix it. And then it keeps me doing the good stuff, building the content and the creative stuff for the game. All right, what else did I mess with? I adjusted the shipyard display shader to use the same metallic specular gloss. And then I adjusted some of the market log prices to be right aligned for better readability. That's something that I'm going to have to go through and make sure I'm doing that everywhere. There's a few other logs off the top of my head. I know the university is not right aligning those prices and things. So I just need to climb through that one evening and just make sure I get all of that stuff so that all the financial information is consistent. All right. I adjusted the Skybox material palette from 14 to 20. Now what that means is in the actual Skybox editor, you can see some of this stuff. I'll go ahead and open that up. And in here, you'll notice that I have increased the actual array that holds various different textures for the Skybox. So I think it used to go up to 14. So from 0, we'll add 13 in there, and then I'll just turn it up so you can see what it is I'm talking about. All right, so there you go. You can see there's a Skybox texture, but now it goes up to 14. 15 all the way up to 20. So there's all kinds of different like cloud-like nebula structures or textures that you can play around with and create some more. It's giving you a lot more variation so that you're not really getting the same type of cloud nebula structures every time. I keep saying structures, textures, every time that you're going from one sector to the next. And this is mainly for me because I got a lot of work to do. I'm going through and redesigning as I'm going through sector by sector and implementing the new mission stuff for the storyline. Basically, you're not going to see an update until December. I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of this video. But I needed to get some things in place, and this additional set of textures is just going to help, make things look a little bit more dynamic and not so copy and pasted. But anyway, that's what that means. So there's some new stuff to play with the Skybox editor. The crate collection code for the NPCs was causing some issues, more specifically the mercenaries. So I have tweaked that, and their auto task routine is behaving a lot better now. So that's one thing that I needed to address, and that has been taken care of. All the materials for the tactical sensors have been adjusted for better contrast, and I kind of talked about that already in the beginning, so I'm going to skip those on the list. The pirate merc's ability to collect crates from raider loot and crate spawns. So basically, whenever you're collecting crates, you get some credits. Well, whenever your mercenaries were collecting the crates, you would just get the items. The actual code was not being generated that would deliver any kind of monetary payment for the money that was left behind in the crate. And at the time, I was just like, well, of course, they're going to take the money and, I found an empty wallet kind of deal. But I have rethought that a little bit, and with some help from some players, it is now what's happening is your pirate mercenaries that collect those crates will also collect the money too, but they will only deliver the amount of the percentage of their money based on their loyalty. So if you've got 50% loyalty with that pirate mercenary, he'll give you half the cash. If you've got 100% loyalty, he'll give it all to you. So, and anywhere in between. If you've got like almost no loyalty and he's about to quit on you, he's going to keep the money. You might just get a few dollars out of it. Okay, lots of other stuff. The debris props that are swapping materials now, that was something that wasn't happening in tactical sensors. So at least now, this is a sandbox game. I should probably just load up a normal campaign to show you. But basically, you can see for yourself that what's happening is all of those background props are now being, transparent and rendered out. But so you can still see that they're there, but they're not obstructing or being, too demanding on the screen, so that you can see all of the active elements, the things you can click on, and the things that are more important. All right, let's go down the list. I did add, you guys were complaining about some of these check marks. It was too light, so I made a more high contrast version. I'm aware that the toggle buttons on the title screen are not matching, and I will be going and fixing that in build 126. So that will be coming. All right, what else do we got here? This was kind of a big one. I might have to dock at a station here and hopefully find... Is there another station over that way? Let's just see what we got here. I'm going to go ahead and warp through here to see what we got. But basically, the Fabricator has been revamped a little bit, and the usability is a lot easier now. Prior to build 125, whenever you would use the Fabricator, you would have to drag in your blueprint and then make sure you have your items and then run the Fabricator. Well, you were allowed to drag in multiple blueprints, but it would only keep track of whatever the last blueprint that you were dragging in was. And then to get another item to load instead, you would have to drag that item out of the Fabricator, then drag it back into the Fabricator, then run the Fabricator. So now what's happening is you can keep all of your blueprints in storage at the Fabricator, and just by clicking the blueprint while it's inside the Fabricator's cargo bay, it will immediately select that item and then plug in. If you have all of your components and resources in there, then it'll automatically be ready to start manufacturing. So it makes it a lot easier and just a lot more intuitive, a lot more usable. And I had been playing around with the idea of separating all of the Fabricator stuff completely, so that once you learn an item, then that item can be used everywhere. But I'm starting to think that maybe I want to go in a different direction with that and make it so that the item is Fabricator specific. So I'm still kind of cooking up the possibility of having you install a blueprint into the Fabricator, and then it will always be there. It can't be removed once it's installed at that station. It's always accessible. But there really seems to be no additional benefit for that. I've been playing around with possibly ideas of, giving you some type of reduction or in cost or bonus in speed or something by permanently installing that blueprint into the Fabricator, because with the new system that I just talked about where you can just click them, there's really no need to have a different window or a different panel that's going to let you select items that you already have pre-installed. It's just as easy just to drag the blueprints in there, and they wouldn't be permanent, and then you can click on them just as you would if they were installed. So I'm still kind of playing with ideas. If you have any suggestions or ideas that you think would be really cool for that, make sure you hit me up on Discord or post them on the forums or whatever. All right, down the list here, I did add some sound effects to the Fabricator installation of documents, and then I did some auto sorting so that all your blueprints can be available at the top of the inventory list so that it's easy for you to select them. I added 6 new skybox materials. We discussed that. And I added 3 new mission dialogue scripts to the NPC structure missions. So there are a few other structures out there. You can go to an office structure and you'll be able to pick up some raider bounties. You can go to a habitat structure. I think those are asking for recovery missions. People want you to go pick up their shit. And then you have the storage. I think it's the storage structures where I put in mining. I think you can pick up mining missions. I'm not sure which ones I attached to where, but basically there are 3 new NPC interactions that you can do in the structures to get specific missions all the time. So you can always go and get bounty missions for raider bounty missions at the office. And currently the level in which they're being generated is hard-coded into the actual structure so that I can eventually make it, so that different structures or, areas that you haven't been able to access inside of a structure could open up higher level missions for you. So that's something that's coming in the future. All right. Dialogue script for bounty raiders there we go. So the bounty raider missions go to the office structures, the crate recovery missions to the habitat, and the mining missions to the storage. I got it right. Sweet. All right. Let's see. I added, if we jump into here, I know this video isn't very, very visual. I'm going to go ahead and quit to the title screen. I want to show you I made some changes to the, god damn it, I hate when I do that. Made some changes to the structure editor so that there could be some access to some of the new variables that I've had in there for some time. So if we go into the mod tools and jump into the structure editor, you'll see that the stats panel now has the ability to modify the interior colors, which was not something I was giving you access to. They had been there in the file. Oops, where should I click here? Scripting, I want structures. There we go. So let's jump into, we'll say, the recon structure. And if you go into stats, now you can see I've kind of rearranged the way this is set up. So you've got the main color, there's your material, you've got the main color of the structure, then you've got the interior color, you've got the interior glow color, and the window color. So you're able to adjust those 3 new variables inside. And then I kind of revamped a little bit of this and laid it out so that was just a little bit easier to read. It didn't feel so cramped and it wasn't being pushed so close to the bottom there. All right, I think that pretty much covers everything. I don't know if I missed anything else there, but I think that'll do. So what is going on right now is I am in the process of going through and plugging in all of the NPCs into the structures and the campaign maps to start to connect all of the storyline missions. And I'm just going to do one at first to get it out, and then hopefully between the middle of December and the end of December, I will have a major update. Now, this update is going to encompass not just some of the storyline stuff, and some of the side quest missions, but it will also be a new revamp and a rebalance of the items database, where prices, names, values, all of that stuff is going to change. And this should get us closer to where we want to be for launch. And it's going to make it so that any existing save game will not be playable. Now, obviously, I'm going to put in there a way that you can import into a new save game, but because of the ID numbers and the names of items, and there's going to be so much that changes that it's just not safe to be playing an old save it's quite possible that yours would work fine because you didn't happen to have any of the items or things that got changed. And then it's quite possible that, your new account, you happen to stumble on some loot from a raider drop that is causing your save not to load. So at this point, I'm just warning everyone that I'm not going to call it a player wipe, but it's going to break your old save games. And it's the first time that this is going to be the case. That's why I wanted to wait until I got so much of the mechanics that I needed in place so that when I did this, I wouldn't have to do it again, or if I did, it would be a long time before I'd have to do it again. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that things are compatible with some type of tool that will allow you to import those items in there. But currently, I'm not promising that. So I just want to be clear, this new December update is going to change so much with the database and with a lot of items and prices and just a lot of things are going to change, that I'm 100% recommending that you're not trying to play your old save. So that just to be prepared for it, when that time comes, I'll do the best I can to help any players that absolutely don't want to lose their old guy. I'll figure out a way to do it, even if I have to write some kind of script that goes through and cross-references and reconnects your items, or however. It'd be a pain in the ass, but I'm sure that there's a way, we can make it so that you're not losing your good stuff. All right. I can go ahead and show you this real quick since I hadn't really been able to show you before. All right, so here we are in Void Starcross, and you can see you've got all these props and stuff in the background, but now when you hit spacebar, you still see those props. It's like this translucent, but it makes it easier to pick out the items that are actually clickable and interactable versus things that are just there for the background. And because some of those backgrounds have very predominant asteroid fields and things that make it more recognizable, I wanted to make sure that those items were also being kind of encompassed in that transition. So that's what I was talking about earlier with all of the prop stuff. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it synced up pretty good. Again, I'm kind of operating on a shoestring here, just with the basics. I had to dig my mic out of a box just to plug it in for you guys. But anyway, I'll be back. The next update, I'm probably going to do a small update with just some fixes. That there were some issues with some of the Merc auto task stuff with transport and mining mercs and delivery between silos and stations. So I might be doing a quick little update here in the next day or two, but other than that, it's going to be quiet here until right around Christmas. It's going to take me a couple months to climb through this. So please be patient. Don't feel wary. Don't panic that you haven't seen an update. I know I normally update once or twice a month, and it's going to get quiet there. So I just want to give everybody a heads up on what's going on. If you see anybody panicking or asking questions, where's the updates, make sure you point them to this video. All right, guys, until next time, this is Momoguru signing out.